Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Now in today's video we're going to be having a look at these brand new pedals by Asetek Simsports, the Asetek Simsports Invicta pedals. Now I've had these for about 3 weeks now, testing them on my rig, and oh boy are they good. Now you may have seen my first impressions video where I looked at the pedals before I put them on the rig, but today I'm going to be able to tell you exactly what I think. Now before we start, the necessary disclaimer: Asetek sent me these pedals for free, so I didn't pay for them. But that doesn't influence what I'm going to say in any way, shape or form. Asetek don't have any input on the video, they haven't seen this before it's been released, and my opinions are my opinions as always. Now obviously I want to say a massive thank you to Asetek Simsports for sending me these pedals. There wasn't too many of these shipped out, so I feel quite honoured to be one of the chosen few. Now I've said it once and I'll say it again, I am not a reviewer of products, I'm a sim racer just like you, so that's the opinion you're going to get. So for me, there are 4 things that I'm interested in when buying a product. Firstly, it's got to look right. If it doesn't look right, you're not going to buy it. Secondly, what's the build quality like? Thirdly, how does it perform? And lastly, is it worth the money? So let's talk about the unboxing packaging experience first of all. Now, Asetek say that the packaging that we received isn't the final packaging, it's going to be better. Well, if it's going to be better, it's going to be incredible, because the packaging that we got was absolutely fine, as you can see from the pictures. Everything was boxed up, neat, tidy, as you'd expect, absolutely no issues whatsoever. So the drivers for the pedals, we got them on a little Asetek flash drive, but when they are released, you'll be able to download them from their website. So onto the pedals, what do I think? Well, as I mentioned in my first impressions video, the pedals look absolutely superb. I don't ever think I've had a nicer looking set of pedals. This RGB strip on the front is a really nice touch. I love the colours, I love the orange and black. I think it's finished beautifully. Having used these for about 3 weeks, there's no issues at all. There's no wear on the foot plate. Absolutely perfect. No issues. Build quality wise, there's nothing out of place. There was no marks. All the fasteners are neat and tidy. They're all made of metal, so they're not going to break. I literally can't fault the build quality at all. So we'll talk about the experience itself first of all. So we'll mention the clutch first of all. I didn't use the clutch that much, but when I did, it was fine. It's a clutch at the end of the day, it's a clutch. But when I did, it was absolutely fine. I got a cracking start in a Porsche Cup race using the clutch. No issues, a clutch is a clutch. Now on to the business end of the pedals. First of all, we'll talk about the accelerator. Really, really nice. One thing I did do was reduce the throw. Now, out the box, this was quite a long throw on the pedal. So what I did was just adjusted it down here at the bottom and just reduced the throw a little bit. That made it so much better. But the throttle and the clutch have got Hall sensors, dead smooth. I mean, you expect that on any high-end set of pedals. Now, onto the star of the show, which is the brake pedal. Now, this is a bespoke master cylinder by Asetek. It's a completely sealed unit, no maintenance required, designed to last 1 million cycles. It doesn't use normal brake fluid. It uses another kind of oil. It doesn't need brake fluid. There's no temperature involved in sim racing. Completely sealed. No maintenance. I like it. Now this uses Asetek's Thorpe system. That's twin hydraulic opposite rapid piston. So unlike other pedals, other hydraulic pedals where you would brake and the slave cylinder would compress a elastomer, this has got a 2-stage braking system where you brake to a certain point. There's only so much travel in the pedal. You brake to a certain point and essentially the pedal hits a brick wall. You can't push it anymore. The rest of the braking is determined by this pressure sensor. Now to show you how that works, I will just take out the elastomer that is in the back here. There. So you can see this piston down the bottom there. When I brake, that piston is retracted. So this piston pushes in, and this one is retracted at the same time. Now, all that does is compresses this elastomer. Now, the two-stage braking system, so you've got that much travel, that's it. That's all the travel that you've got in the pedal, no more, irrespective of which elastomer you're having. That's the pedal travel that you've got. And then you hit that brick wall. Now, with the black elastomer, that's the softest one. To get to this stage where you hit that brick wall, it's 50 kilos. If you use the white one, which is the medium, that's 70 kilos. And if you use the green one, to get to this stage is 100 kilos. So all this does is determine what pressure is in that initial braking phase. But it's better off to show you in the simulator exactly what this system does. So the first thing we'll look at is the software. So the software is called Race Hub. Now, if you look down the left-hand side, you've got pedals there, which are the pedals that we've got connected. But then there's two other grayed out areas there, which would suggest to me that there's some more hardware coming. But we can't select those. So the software is obviously set up with the future in mind and other pieces of hardware. But we'll click on the pedals because we can. You can see there a nice 3D model of our pedals. And what's really cool about this 3D model is if we kind of put it where our pedals are, we press the accelerator, it's a true representation of what's going on with our pedals there. And the same with the brake and the same with the clutch. Really, really cool feature. So we'll move across firstly to LED. Now this is the LED strip that's on the front of the pedal plate. Now you can just see in the bottom left hand corner of the pedal plate on my foot cam, you might be able to see the changing colour just as we move this. It doesn't really pick it up on that camera, but you can see on the graphics on the software that moves to whichever colour you want, and that's changing on my pedal plate right now. So we'll leave it on the blue, and obviously you can change the brightness of that and so on. So then we'll go to calibration. Now this is what I was talking about as far as the travel goes on the pedals. So if we press our pedal we get to the full pedal travel. So there it is. So that's only braking up to about 65%-ish there. So that's our full pedal travel. But if we squeeze the pedal, you get more braking, but you can see the pedal's not actually moving. That's what I was talking about with the brick wall. A rock hard pedal, it's not moving, but the more we squeeze, the more pressure we actually generate. So again, down to the full pedal travel there. So that's the stop, and then we'll squeeze a bit more, and that's at 69 bar. So we can calibrate that really easily. So we'll click calibrate. So we'll hold it down so we get to the full pedal travel, which is about there. And then if we squeeze a bit more, depending on how much you squeeze, so we'll just leave it at 61 bar. And now it's easier for me to get right to the top. So full pedal travel takes us to about 85%. And then squeeze a bit more to 100%. But I don't want to be braking at 85% when I get to full pedal travel. So I go down to the full travel, then I squeeze it up to about 69, 70 bar. Seems to work for me. And then now full pedal travel is about 70%. Perfect. Same with accelerator, clutch, really easy to configure your dead zones, top and bottom, really easy. So there we can just move that down. 24% dead zone there. That's all it'll go to. I don't want any dead zone at the top. A little bit at the bottom, but really easy. So now we'll go to pedal maps. Now, I've never been one for messing around with pedal maps previously, but you can see with the throttle map, I can see an advantage using a map on the throttle. So I have mine completely linear on brake, clutch and throttle. But if we accelerate there to 40% there, so 40%, if we change the throttle map there, probably around about 15, 18%. And the more we press, obviously, the higher the ramp or the steeper the ramp goes. So be really, really useful at really bumpy circuits or cars such as the V8 supercar on iRacing or the NASCARs, where you really need to be gentle with the throttle on corner exit. Changing it to this throttle map may help. So if we go back to linear, again 40, if we do it the other way, that puts it straight up to about 70, 78%, 75%. And again, if we go to the other one, it takes it right down, then linear at 40. So I have mine at linear, and you can do this for the brake as well. Linear. So really, really handy. The clutch, I find the clutch really, really nice. I don't need to make any adjustments with that. Works really well, but that's a really nice little feature. I've not really experimented with it. I do like a linear brake pedal on a linear accelerator pedal, but I can see when using this throttle map might be really useful. They use these in the real car. They do use a custom curve on the accelerator in a real race car, so why not use it in the software? Now we'll jump in the sim and I'll show you exactly what this effect has, this two-stage braking has in the simulator. So here we are then on the skid pan on iRacing to give you a practical demonstration on how the two-stage braking works with the Asetek pedals and how it can help you. Now on some high-end pedals you can tune them in the software so you only use a certain amount of the brake. So for example, if you were driving a car with no ABS on iRacing, such as the Porsche Cup car or one of the GT cars, you can tune the software so you would only use 80%. That's just a random number, 80% of the brake. So that would prevent you from locking the wheels up. Or if you were driving a car with ABS, you could set it to roughly the same, just so you didn't go into that ABS phase of the braking, which obviously isn't as efficient. But I've never been a big fan of that. I've always thought that, well, it's not cheating. A lot of the top esports drivers use it, but I don't like it. I like a level playing field. I like everybody to have 100% brake and modulate it with your foot rather than a piece of software. But the Asetek Simsports pedals does something similar if you calibrate it like I have, but you still get that extra 20% of brake to play with. Now, I'll show you exactly what I mean. So we're just on the skid pan, so we'll just have a little drive around, build up some speed. Now, I'm going to brake to the end of the first stage of the braking where we get the full pedal travel. So like I mentioned, whichever elastomer you're having, you've still got the same amount of pedal travel. That doesn't change. All that changes is how stiff the pedal is until you reach the stop. So we'll just move over to the center now. We'll accelerate. Now we're going to brake to the end of the pedal travel. There we go. So that's 67, 70%, something like that. We'll do that again. Just braking until I get the stop. 70%. You can see the line is pretty constant, really. It doesn't really drop down too much. Now, we're going to do the same again. We're going to brake until we reach the stop. But because we've got the extra 20%, we can then squeeze the pedal to use that to our advantage. So we can brake initially till we get to the stop. And then squeeze a little bit more. You can see we've got to 70%, but then we could squeeze the pedal. So in a really heavy braking zone, you can brake till you reach the stop and then squeeze the pedal. We can squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and that line just crept up slowly. Nice, slow, modulated braking. So again, we can do it again to the stop, just to show you. So all the way at the stop. Yeah, so you can see 70% is about where we're at, just over. But then we'll do it one more time. Try and get a bit of a longer braking zone. And brake and then squeeze. There. So you do get much more efficient braking that way. But that's how it works. You brake until you reach the stop, and then you hit that brick wall, a rock hard pedal. And then because of the software and how we've calibrated it, we can just squeeze just to get a little bit more braking. So as you saw there, you can use the same technique that some of the top esports drivers do, but still have that extra 20% braking there if you need it. I've been testing the two-stage braking system for the last week religiously. When you get used to it, you can hit the same braking marker and the same pressure, lap after lap after lap after lap. Honestly, it's absolutely amazing. So as far as mounting goes then, I mentioned in the first look video that it looked relatively straightforward. There's literally 6 mounting points on these pedals. It's that easy. Bolt it to your aluminium profile rig. Away you go, happy days. One thing I did notice though, and somebody mentioned it, is this. Now, if this was going to be mounted to my old rig, the rock solid rig that had a flat pedal deck, so it was just literally bolted on, you couldn't adjust or you couldn't change the elastomer with it on the rig. You would have to remove the whole pedal set because that won't come off there. So that's the only issue I can see with that. But 6 bolts, dead easy to remove from the rig. Now, one other thing that I did notice that I didn't really like, and it's only a very, very minor niggle, is how you connect these pedals together. So on the bottom here, there's a cable that you can see, and this cable attaches to the clutch pedal there. But that's really, really difficult to do when you're trying to hold the pedals. I had to mount these to 2 pieces of aluminium profile to hold them together. Then I could literally tip it upside down and put this connector in there. It wasn't the easiest, unless there's a simple way of doing it that I haven't fathomed out yet. That was a bit of a pain, but like I only had to do it once when they were put on the rig. I'm gonna have to do it again when I put them back on. But that was the only niggle that I could find. Now, I was asked the question about inverting these pedals, but obviously because of the way they are designed with the brake and clutch together, you can't invert them because the accelerator will be on the wrong side. I don't know if there's potential in the future of making these 3 individual pedals, and I don't even know if the master cylinder can be inverted. Would it affect performance? I don't know, but at the moment you can't invert them because when you do, the accelerator is on the wrong side. So what do I think then? So I mentioned at the beginning that we're going to look at 4 things, or 4 things are important to me. Firstly, looks. I think they look fantastic. The black and gold looks superb. Some people might not like this offset kind of 2 pedals, 1 pedal, but that doesn't bother me at all. Really, really doesn't. So they look absolutely great. The colours are superb. Build quality, I haven't found a thing wrong with it at all. Everything is perfect. All the nuts, bolts, everything's perfect. I can't fault it. The only thing I could see failing is the elastomer, because that's the only part that's being compressed. But it compresses within this master cylinder where there's only so much travel. So it's not going to be compressed to a point where it's going to just explode. It's only going to compress so much every single time. And Asetek say that they're designed for 1 million cycles. So to be honest, I can't see anything going wrong. So how do they perform? Well, you're not going to be surprised to know that I think these are absolutely incredible. Now, I'm comparing these to other pedal sets that I've had. And I've had high-end pedals for a long, long time. And in my opinion, Asetek have set the bar a little bit higher. Everybody's got to catch up now to these pedals. The 2-stage braking system is unbelievable. Until you experience it, you won't know what I mean. But to have that rock-hard pedal, which you would get in a real car, and then you can just squeeze just to get a little bit more braking, unbelievable. So as far as the driving experience goes, absolutely unbelievable. And as I mentioned, they've set the bar right up here now. Everybody's got to catch up. So let's talk about pricing then. So at the moment, you can pre-order them at a special price. That lasts until the end of February. So for the accelerator and brake, special pre-order price is $699. That's US dollars or euros. And it's $299 for the clutch. That again, that's US dollars or euros. When the pre-order finishes, it's going to be $849 for the brake and accelerator and $349 for the clutch. So that's like 1,200 euros / dollars. So take the pre-order thing away because not everybody's going to get in the pre-order deal. So 1,200 euros / dollars for a 3-pedal set. Is it worth the money? Well, yes, I'm going to say yes. This is a hydraulic pedal set with a system that nobody else is using. It's a system like I've never ever used before. would I buy them? Would I spend my money? It's difficult because until you try something, you don't know how good it's going to be, do you? But if I was able to try these, then yes, I would have no question buying them. So you're going to have to like trust the likes of me and everybody else that's using them just to give you their feedback. But for me, as a serious sim racer where speed is important, that's all I ever do. Would I spend 1,200 euros of my hard-earned money on this pedal set? Absolutely. But I'm not trying to sell these pedals to you. Buy them if you want. Don't buy them. I'm just giving you my opinion. I've got nothing to gain if you buy these pedals at all. I really don't. So if you want them, get them. If you don't want them, don't get them. But for me, as a serious sim racer, you know what I'm all about, then these are going back on my rig. And if I were you, I'd buy some. So that's us had a look at the Asetek Simsports Invicta pedals. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to Asetek Simsports for allowing me to get these pedals early, to try them out so I could explain to you guys just how good they are. As always, thanks for watching. See you later. Cheers.